Thank y'all for tapping into Your Cuz Podcast, man. Y'all know who it is. It's Cuz on 1 and 2. Thank y'all for tapping in. Listen, man, welcome to the show. Time for the shout-outs. Y'all already know I got to do the shout-outs, man. Shout out to the YouTube family. Shout out to the new subscribers. Shout out to all the supporters. Shout out to the guests that tap into the Your Cuz Podcast. And shout out to all the good people that love my show. Thank y'all for tapping into Your Cuz Podcast. So look, make sure y'all like, subscribe, and drop a comment on this episode, because we are definitely lit tonight. Y'all already know who it is. Joe, we talk about Donald Trump tonight, man. It's all about Uncle Trump tonight. Hey, it's all about Uncle Trump tonight. So listen, man, make sure y'all pay attention. Make sure y'all roll them J's up, because it's lit tonight on the Your Cuz Podcast. Let's go.
Keep going there, I gotta be on the board.
Well, thank you very much. It's a great honor to have Taoiseach Martin from Ireland, and somebody that we know, we get along with. We've had a very good relationship, and we continue, and we're going to have some big discussions today concerning trade, concerning lots of different subjects. We have a tremendous trade relationship with Ireland, and we'll keep it that way. I think it's going to be expanded very greatly. Probably they want to talk a little bit about tariffs, but I won't mention that. We won't bring that up. But you might want to be discussing that a little bit. But it's an honor to have you, and thank you very much for being here. Thank you.
And may I thank you, President, for facilitating this visit, and in what is for us probably one of the most important weeks in the United States. And in many ways you're affirming the tremendous bonds between Ireland and the United States that go back to the very foundation of this republic. And 35 million people in this country claim Irish descent and Irish heritage. And I spent the first 2 days in Philadelphia, going back really into the heart of that history, and the fact that 3 Irish people born in the island of Ireland signed the Declaration of Independence. It was printed by an Irishman, John Dunlap, and disseminated across the colonies. And Charles Thompson, as we discussed earlier, he designed the bald eagle, the seal of the US. So in many ways our connection is foundational, it's historic. And the Irish helped to build America. We're very proud of that connection. And we think you hosting us here in the White House is affirmation to all the Irish Americans out there and to our diaspora in this country for what they've contributed to America. And that's very much through the prism this year, the America 250. It's a very exciting year, and we're discovering new things. I mean, even a guy from my own city, a guy called Stephen Moylan, who was an aide-de-camp to Washington, he's regarded as the guy who came up with the phrase, the United States of America. First written record, and it's in New York in the museum in Salt Lake. That's the nature, the history of those bonds.
Well, you told me something before that was maybe the most interesting of all. How many presidents are in some way related through blood with Ireland?
23.
Can you believe it?
23 Irish presidents.
They're great politicians. The Irish are great politicians.
Absolutely.
No, but think of it. 23 are in some form, and many of them have gone to Ireland.
Absolutely.
Grant
went to Ireland after his presidency.
Right.
I was saying earlier, Ronald Reagan's visit was an extraordinary one in a place called Ballyporeen in County Tipperary. And of course, John F. Kennedy, whose grandfather was Irish, came back, I think, early '63. That's a very memorable visit because of what tragedy that happened subsequently in the assassination, which touched people in Ireland very deeply. So the Kennedy
very popular.
Kennedy family strong resonation with Ireland.
Well, we like the family too.
Yeah.
One person in particular, one very non-controversial.
I know
person.
that.
But now he's doing a very good job. Though. He really is. But we have more, I think, people here by far than you have in Ireland that are of Irish descent. We have. So you have quite a few, but we have a lot.
We have a lot more than we have.
It's pretty amazing by a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much. It's a great honor. And any questions?
Ireland and September, and will you stay at Doonbeg?
Well, I'm having, it's a great thing, my son and my family, we have a great golf complex in Ireland, one of the best in the world, called Doonbeg. It's in Doonbeg. And it's been amazing, and Rory McIlroy loves it, they all love it. Great golfers, you have a tremendous golf tradition, and it was chosen for the Irish Open, which is a big deal. That's a big event.
Absolutely, looking forward to it.
Everybody wants me to be there. You just said, I hope you're going to go.
I did.
And we're going to try. We are going to try, but it would be an honor. But it was a great honor to be chosen. They only choose the best courses in the world for the, for the big opens. It's one of the big ones, the Irish Open. It's really become one of the most important tournaments in the world. I hear it's going to be a fantastic success.
Be a great success.
Yeah. It's a very,
Mr. President,
it's a very hard course.
What progress have you made, Mr. President, in getting America's allies to assist the U.S. in escorting those oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, we don't need too much help, and we don't need any help, actually. In fact, we just put out a notice. I was watching over the last couple of weeks, and all of our NATO allies were very much in favor of what we did. They thought it was very important. We were just discussing it, actually. Very important that we take out the nuclear threat from Iran, and we've done that very strongly, very powerfully. We've wiped out their Navy, wiped out their military in every aspect. Their Air Force is now decimated. They have no Air Force, no Navy. They have no radar. Their radar is entirely gone. Their anti-aircraft machinery is gone. Everything is gone. Their leaders are gone. I guess one of the top person was, they say, a lot of people say their actual top was killed yesterday, along with somebody else who was responsible for the killing, the man that was responsible for the killing of 32,000 people over the last 2 weeks. He was in charge of the killing of protesters. It's an evil group. I mean, they've killed much more than 32,000 people. And the man who was responsible for that was also killed yesterday. And all of the NATO allies agreed with us, but they don't want to, despite the fact that we help them so much. We have thousands of soldiers in different countries all over the world, and they don't want to help us, which is amazing. I mean, amazing. And I didn't do a full court press because I think if I did, they probably would be. But we don't need help. That war has been long prosecuted, as far as I'm concerned, almost from day one. We knocked out many of these things. We knocked out the Navy essentially in a couple of days. But I was surprised to see that NATO, while they agree that it was a very important thing to do, they agree fully. Nobody said, "Oh, you shouldn't do it." They would have had a nuclear weapon within 1 month of when we had the B-2 bombers bomb the nuclear potential. I call it the nuclear dust. So I think NATO's making a very foolish mistake, and I've long said that I wonder whether or not NATO would ever be there for us. So this was a great test because we don't need them, but they should have been there. The other thing is, and I think very important, we didn't have to be there for Ukraine. Biden chose to spend hundreds of billions of dollars on Ukraine, and I guess the head of Germany just made a statement that, they weren't involved and they have nothing to do with the war. But at the same time, they think we did a great thing by knocking them out. Nobody wants to have Iran, or anybody, but nobody wants to have Iran with a nuclear, because these people are crazy. They're absolutely crazy, and they're vicious, violent. I mean, think of it. They killed, now I hear it's about 41,000 people. They put out a notice 2 days ago. Anybody that protests will be immediately shot and killed.
That's crazy.
Pretty tough stuff.
That's
so
crazy.
Everyone agrees with us, but they don't want to help. And we as the United States have to remember that, because we think it's pretty shocking.
President Macron has just said in the last hour that he will never join a task force in the Strait of Hormuz until hostilities finish. Yet yesterday you said...
Who said that?
President Macron of France. What's your reaction to that, sir?
Well, he'll be out of office very soon, so we'll have to see. You know, I don't know.
President Trump, on Doonbeg, you're building an extension to it at the moment, but there's been an objection put in, and it's being held back at the moment due to small snails. What are you disappointed about that?
No, the Planning Commission is.
I have not heard that. No.
That's the sound of an American oil company hard at work. Want to be a part of it? Listen up.
Hello.
Planning Commission.
I mean, the course was built and it's been operated very successfully. Somebody's objecting. You mean an environmental group is objecting to small snails at Doonbeg? I don't know. It doesn't sound like the biggest problem I've ever had.
How close the EU is to announce a coalition of volume to secure the Strait of Hormuz? Which countries are joining and which countries have...
Well, we've had great support from the Middle East. Qatar has been great. UAE has been absolutely, they've been great. Saudi Arabia has been terrific. Bahrain has been very good. The Middle Eastern countries have been very strong in their support. And of course, Israel has been our partner. Israel's been very, very strong along with us. It's been a very strong collaboration. I was against Iran long before I even thought about Israel being against Iran. If you look back, many years ago, I talked about Iran was a big threat to this country, to this world of ours, and turned out to be I was right. In fact,
no black folks in the
I said
crowd.
you have to attack Karg Island. You have to attack them years ago when they were acting up. They've been acting up for 37, 47, I guess now 48 years. For 48 years they've been bad players, vicious players, and you can't let them have a nuclear weapon. If they got a nuclear weapon, I would say they would have used it within 24 hours after having it. And they would have had it if we didn't bomb them out on that great raid with the B-2 bombers 8 months ago or so. You would have had a nuclear war in the Middle East and maybe beyond. I think it would have hit Europe. Maybe not Ireland, but it would have hit Europe. I think you would have been a nice piece of it. It all gets you. It's big enough that you would have been affected. They would have hit Europe eventually.
Mr. President,
Mr. President, your Director of National Counterterrorism, Joe Kent, he just resigned today. He said he can't support your conflict with Iran. What's your reaction to that? And did you talk
Well, I read his statement. I always thought he was a nice guy, but I always thought he was weak on security, very weak on security. I didn't know him well, but I thought he seemed like a pretty nice guy. But when I read his statement, I realized that it's a good thing that he's out, because he said that Iran was not a threat. Iran was a threat. Every country realized what a threat Iran was. The question is whether or not they wanted to do something about it. And many people, many of the greatest military scholars are saying for years that president should have taken out Iran because they wanted a nuclear weapon. They were, if we didn't do the attack, or if, I'll go a step further, if I didn't terminate the Iran nuclear deal given to us, one of the worst deals ever made by Barack Hussein Obama. Remember when they said Boeing 757s over there, loaded with cash, hundreds of millions of dollars? You would have been very happy.
Crazy.
This was a wonderful, they said hundreds of millions. People forget that. Does anybody remember? Right? You remember hundreds of millions of dollars in a Boeing 757. I think they had two of them loaded. They took the seats out and they put cash. And it was so much that there wasn't a bank in Virginia, Maryland, or D.C. that had any money left. They stripped them of all their money, put it into place, sent it to Iran, almost as ransom. That's not going to happen with Trump. And nobody ever did anything about it. Nobody ever said anything of it. Can you imagine if I did that? So they've been a threat for a long time. But they've really been a threat. If I didn't terminate Obama's horrible deal that he made, the Iran nuclear deal, you would have had a nuclear war 4 years ago. You would have had nuclear holocaust, and you would have had it again if we didn't bomb the site. So when somebody is working with us that says they didn't think Iran was a threat, we don't want those people, because, and there are some people, I guess, that would say that, but they're not smart people, or they're not savvy people. Iran was a tremendous threat And virtually every NATO nation, and this is the thing, if they told me it wasn't a threat, and therefore they don't want to help, but when they say it was a threat, and it was a major threat, every one of them, I think every one of them, I don't know if one that said they're not a threat, but when they say it was a threat, but we're not going to help, I think they're very foolish. You know, it's interesting. It's interesting because I could say this, that what's happening in Ukraine, we're probably in there for $400 billion. We don't spend any money anymore. They buy it from us and they pay full price. But Biden gave them between $350 and $400 billion of equipment and cash. Someday they'll have to find out about the cash. And you could say that wasn't a threat, you know, we're helping them. So we helped them, and they didn't help us, and I think that's a very bad thing for NATO.
Are there any repercussions for NATO, and are you still going to China?
Well, yeah, on China, it's a little different story. We're resetting the meeting, and it looks like it'll take place in about 5 weeks. We're working with China. They were fine with it. We're going to say, I look forward to seeing President Xi. He looks forward to seeing me, I think. But I do look forward to seeing him. We have a good relationship with China. China actually has become economically for us very good, as you know. It's much different than it was in the past. And we have a very good working relationship with China. So we're making it in about 5 or 6 weeks.
Mr. President, repercussions for NATO for not supporting you on this? Any repercussions?
Well, no, I just think that it's not good for a partnership when they say what you're doing is a great thing, but we're not going to help. You know, they say what you did is a great thing, but we're not going to help.
Mr. President, in Iran, because the Iranian regime has told Sky News, if you put boots on the ground in Iran, it will be another Vietnam. Are you afraid of that?
No, I'm not afraid of. I'm really not afraid of anything.
Are you rethinking the United States' relationship with NATO possibly getting out?
Well, I'm disappointed in NATO that we spend trillions of dollars on NATO. Think of it, trillions over the years, many trillions of dollars. It's one of the reasons we have deficits and we help other countries. And when they don't help us, I mean, it's certainly something that we should think about. I don't need Congress for that decision. As you probably know, I can make that decision myself. I'd work with some very smart people. And I'd always deal with Congress anyway, but I don't need Congress for that decision. But, you know, when you say rethink, I have nothing currently in mind, but I will say that I'm not exactly thrilled when we help them with Ukraine. Look, Ukraine would have been over in 1 day if we didn't help. Frankly, Ukraine would have been over in the first day. They had the best equipment in the world. It was our equipment, given by Sleepy Joe Biden. No charge. No charge. Hundreds of billions of dollars of the best equipment in the world, no charge. I will say that I'm not happy about it.
Mr. President, 2 questions, one on Iran and one on Cuba. Is Iran now a bigger foreign policy priority for you than China? And on Cuba, the Cuban government.
Iran is just a military operation to me. Iran is something that was essentially largely over in 2 or 3 days because the Navy was wiped out almost immediately. The Air Force came next. The anti-aircraft came next. I mean, we're flying over Iran. We could take out their electric capacity in 1 hour. We have all there's nothing they can do right now because everything is knocked out. They have no radar, no anti-aircraft. They have nothing.
That's crazy.
We don't, and it was a decision I made. We discussed it. Pete, Marco, JD, all of us, Chris, we discussed it. We can knock out their electricity in a matter of minutes if we wanted to. There's nothing they can do about it. We can knock out their oil in Garg Island. The only thing we didn't take down was their oil because if we knock out, I call them the pipes, very complex. But if you do that, it'll take them forever to rebuild, meaning whoever, and hopefully it's a sane group of people, but whoever it is, it's going to be running that, and we're going to try to get people that are going to run it well, and it's going to be a prosperous, wonderful place. It used to be, if you go back, it used to be the people are great, the people are smart and energetic, and it used to be very successful. Now it's a country run by fear. It's a country where they tell protesters, don't go outside, because if you do, we're going to kill you. Well, Cuba right now is in very bad shape. They're talking to Marco, and we'll be doing something with Cuba very soon. We're really focused on this, but we're dealing with Cuba. Marco, do you want to say a couple of words about it?
Yeah, I mean, Cuba has an economy that doesn't work and a political and governmental system that can't fix it. So they have to change dramatically. What they announced yesterday is not dramatic enough. It's not going to fix it. So they've got some big decisions to make over there.
But Secretary Rubio, do you support, and I know this is up to Congress, but do you support easing the trade embargo if you get more cooperation from Havana?
Well, I'm not going to discuss what we would talk about or not. Suffice it to say that the embargo is tied to political change on the island. The embargo is codified. And but the bottom line is their economy doesn't work. It's a non-functional economy. It's an economy that has survived. That revolution, it's not even a revolution, that thing they have, has survived on subsidies from the Soviet Union and now from Venezuela. They don't get subsidies anymore, so they're in a lot of trouble. And the people in charge, they don't know how to fix it. And so they have to get new people in charge. That's what.
And the relationship we have with Venezuela has been, I think you could almost say, incredible. It's been really good. It's been good for Venezuela, and it's been good for us. And I congratulate the Venezuelan baseball team, because that was a big win, and I guess they play another game tonight in the finals. And I said a lot of good things have happened to Venezuela lately. This is the first time they've ever been in the finals, and it was pretty exciting. Yeah.
Iran is just a military operation to you, but do you not have a day after plan? And if so, what is your day after plan for Iran?
Well, we have a lot. Look, if we left right now, it would take 10 years for them to rebuild. But we're not ready to leave yet. But we'll be leaving in the near future. We'll be leaving in pretty much the very near future. But right now, they've been decimated from every standpoint. And again, we've had great support from countries in the Middle East, great support. But we've had no support from, essentially, no support from NATO.
With London, has it been damaged by the fact that Keir Starmer isn't supporting you in this war? And has your opinion of Keir Starmer changed because of this?
Well, he hasn't been supportive, and I think it's a big mistake. They make a lot of money on trade with the United States. I went out of my way, as you know. They couldn't make a deal with Biden because they had no real administration to make a deal, Biden. But we made a deal. We made a good deal for them, and frankly, probably wasn't appreciated. I do look forward to seeing the king. He's going to be coming, as you know, very shortly. But no, I was disappointed because Keir was willing to send 2 aircraft carriers after we won, because essentially there's no threat for the aircraft carriers right now. And I said, no, we want things sent before the war, not after the war is won. So, yeah, I'm disappointed with Keir. I like him. I think he's a nice man, but I'm disappointed. You see that man right there? You know who that is? Churchill. That's the late, great Winston Churchill. And Barack Hussein Obama did not want his bust in this office. Did you know that? And Barack Hussein Obama sent that bust back to England. They didn't want it. And when I came in, I was asked if I wanted it. I said, absolutely, I want it. And I put it right there, Winston Churchill. And, unfortunately, Keir is not Winston Churchill.
Do you have
No, hold it.
Right. Just could I hold it? Just make a number of points. First of all, I think notwithstanding what has happened, the transatlantic relationship between Europe and the US is very, very important on a number of fronts. And I think we've had issues over the last year or two, but we settled them. And I think many of these leaders engaged with you, particularly on trade initially. Remember all the fuss last year, but we got a landing zone between Europe and the US, and I think we can get a landing zone again. And I think I just met with Keir Starmer last week. The British-Irish relationship is a very important one. Churchill was a great wartime leader, although in Ireland there was kind of a different perspective in terms of during our own War of Independence and so on. He created his own bit of difficulties for us, but that said, he was a great wartime hero. Keir Starmer has done a lot to reset the Irish-British relationship. I just want to put that on the record. But I do believe that he's a very earnest, sound person who I think you have a capacity to get on with. You've got on with him before, and you've got on with other European leaders as well. Right. And I think you have that capacity again. And I think everyone accepts, I mean, you cannot have a rogue state with a nuclear weapon or the capacity for a nuclear weapon. Iran was a sponsor of terrorism. We sanctioned Iran, all European countries did, as a and the IRGC in particular as a terrorist organisation. They sponsored Hamas, they sponsored Hezbollah, the Houthis, they created mayhem, a most maligned force in the Middle East. The Irish position has always been, ultimately, can we resolve this can we get peace? And obviously there's preconditions before you get to that situation. We had our own conflict, which went on for 30 years, and we learned a lot from that in terms of how to try and bring about peace. And I think I've listened to you in terms of, you're correct, I mean, our hearts go to the Iranian people who have been repressed and suppressed for so many years, culminating in that savage murder of thousands and thousands of Iranians some months ago. No one was in a position to do anything about that. I think, and likewise with Ukraine, I mean, the Russians did invade Ukraine, have attacked civilian infrastructure and so on like that. And for the people of Ukraine who just want peace and an opportunity to live, I think we have to continue to work to see, can we bring peace, different regime to Iran where Iranians can live in peace again, and the people in the Middle East can live in peace. And you're doing your bit there in terms of the work in Gaza and so on like that. And I think that's what we want, is a peaceful resolution of conflict. That's where we come from as a small nation. Right. We've been peacekeepers all our lives, and we're the longest-serving nation in terms of provision of peacekeeping forces in the world, as it turns out. But we think ultimately all conflicts come to an end, and I think we have to try and work towards that end, and I'm sure European leaders and the US administration will engage, and hopefully we can get a landing zone somewhere.
I mean, the only thing, and I agree with everything you said, but we helped with Ukraine.
Yes.
And they don't help with Iran. And they all acknowledge that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. You yourself say, these are horrendous people. These are the worst people, and going back to Hitler, right? Going back to Hitler, these are the worst people. That's a long time ago, and there's been nothing close. Every problem, so many deaths, 90% of the people that got blown up by landmines, they loved them. Soleimani, we killed him. If we didn't, it might be a different story, because he was a horrible person, but he was a very powerful person and leader, smart. But we killed him. If we didn't, I think you'd have it. I did. But I think we'd have maybe a different situation. It wouldn't have been so easy as it has been, because it has been very easy. It's all of their military is there, but you could always have somebody drop a mine in the water. It's like terrorism.
Yep.
And then you have the people that own the billion-dollar ship saying, well, let's not move that ship yet because we want. So we thought that Europe would help that, because they do have some minesweepers. But it's amazing that, they all said, what a great job. They would call me congratulating us on the great job we did with respect to Iran, and we knocked the hell out of them. And they're no longer the bully of the Middle East. They were known as the bully of the Middle East, and they're not the bully anymore. But you would have thought they would have said, we'd love to send a couple of minesweepers. It's not a big deal. It doesn't cost very much money. But they didn't do that. So, I think it's very unfair to the United States. Not to me, but to the United States. Go ahead, please.
Keir Starmer isn't making...
She's a fantastic reporter, by the way. Go ahead.
No, for
The
real.
Prime Minister isn't making the case to the British public as to why he should be supporting you. Could you do that now, talk to the UK and to GB News viewers about why it's in their interest that we help you?
Well, because we have a tremendous long-term relationship with the UK. I mean, people would say it's the best. I don't want to get into that, but we've had, it was the longest, the oldest, should be the best. Always was the best until Keir came along, and now, and I like him. He's a nice man. He says everything beautiful. He's a very nice man with a beautiful family. Everything's perfect, but he doesn't produce. And I think it's very inexpensive. I just said, you don't have to send me aircraft carriers. Send me a couple of minesweepers. We don't need your aircraft carriers. But even the aircraft carriers, he would only send them after we essentially won. I mean, he's sending them when there are no planes left, when the missiles are down to 8%. They have like 8% of the missiles. The rest we demolish the missiles, and the factories, largely the factories are going even as we speak. They just hit another factory. They have a lot of missile factories. They have a lot of drone factories. And so he's, wants to send them when we don't need them. But we'd like to have minesweepers, because just in case. We don't know that there are any mines now, because we wiped out, I think, 24. They actually have to think of this for a country. They have 24 boats that do nothing but put mines in the water.
That's crazy.
This doesn't sound like a great country. This doesn't sound like a friendly country. But we killed all of those boats. They're at the bottom of the sea. But so we don't even know if there are any mines there. But if there are, we'd like to have a little help in finding them. Probably most importantly.
Would you like to change your Prime Minister? Do you have confidence in Keir Starmer? Would you prefer to deal
Well,
with
it's not for me.
before?
It's really for the people of the UK to have confidence.
Of course, but is he
I've been very critical of Keir, and I did it in a friendly way. I said, if you don't change your energy thing and get away from windmills and go back to oil and gas, and you have something that's no other country has. Very few countries have anything like it, the North Sea. You have some of the greatest oil and oil deposits in the entire world, the North Sea. They don't use it. You buy a lot of your oil from Norway. You know where they get their oil? From the North Sea. And you pay a very big price. So why are you paying a lot of money? And I tell them, you have the better part of the North Sea. So why aren't they taking the oil from the North Sea? Why are they buying oil from Norway? But they have windmills all over the country, destroying those gorgeous Scottish fields and those beautiful fields all over the windmills, which don't work. They're tremendously expensive. And the best testament to that is the windmills are made in China, but China doesn't use them. You know what China uses? Coal. They're building 58 coal-fired plants right now, and that's up to them. But these foolish countries that are buying windmills, putting them out of business, I'm proudly telling you that we're going to try and have no windmills built in the United States during my... Because they're very bad. They're very bad environmentally. They kill the birds. They're unsightly. They make a lot of noise. And for some reason, the environmentalists love windmills, okay?
You say he's a very nice man.
I think he's a nice man. I think he's a nice man, but I disagree with him on two things, primarily. His immigration policy is a disaster, and his energy policy is a disaster. And they're about the biggest policies you can have. You've allowed millions and millions and millions of people to come into your country that shouldn't be there. And by the way, that's all over Europe. Europe is a different place. It's a different place. And I originate, to put it nicely, many of us do, from Europe. I love Europe. I've spent a lot of time in Europe. It's a different place. Bad things have happened to Europe. Very bad things. And you better do something about immigration, and you better do something about energy, or you won't have a Europe.
What's your time frame, Mr. President, for when cargo ships can safely go through the Strait?
It won't be, I don't believe, too long. We're knocking the hell out of the coast. It's basically the coast and the water, and it won't be too long. And the Middle Eastern states, including Israel, by the way, who has been terrific, the Middle Eastern states have been helping us a lot.
Have you ever seen people flipping houses and say, man, I wish I could make money like them? They've got dumpsters there, they've got contractors going in and out, but you don't know how to.
Go ahead, you, please.
Mr. President, on fuel prices, what do you have to say to the people in Ireland who are paying sky-high prices because of your war in Iran?
Well, I think the people in Ireland are very happy that I'm getting rid of, I have a lot of friends from Ireland, they're very happy that I'm getting rid of a nuclear power, a nuclear terrorist. And as soon as that war's over, which will be soon, your prices are going to drop like a rock. You watch. I've been very good at predicting. No, in the back.
Yeah. What do you think about our president's comments that your actions in Iran are breaking international law?
Say it.
What do you think about our president's comments?
Can you speak? You're speaking right into your phone.
Mr. President, how do you respond to the increasing attacks by the Iraqi militia groups against the U.S. Embassy and consulate in the Kurdistan region?
I thought Trump did.
You want to answer that, JJ? Do you want to?
Yeah, well, Marco, obviously, the Secretary of State, has control over the embassy. Look, there have been a lot of militia attacks against our base, or our embassy in Iran. I think Marco's done a good job of limiting the number of people who are at that embassy so we can provide essential functions but also protect our people. But it goes to show there are a lot of terrorists in that region of the world, and we've got to eliminate them when we find them.
And you can't give them nuclear weapons. You can give them rifles, you can give them guns, you can't give them nuclear weapons. I think we agree for
Very strongly. On the immigration point.
Yes, excuse me.
Just first of all, I would say, like, Europe is still a very good place to live in. And our view is you have to have robust and fair rules around migration. But on the other hand, a lot of people, within the European Union, we have free mobility of people. And in Ireland, our population is growing, but in a very positive way. Our economy is going well because we're attracting a lot of people from Europe and beyond into work, legally and validly in our country. In fact, I'd love if we could develop a legal pathway between the US and Ireland into the future because of our history and so on like that, that we could have a legal pathway, because no one is in favour of illegal migration or and so forth, so you have to have robust rules for that. But fundamentally, I think sometimes Europe gets characterised wrongly in terms of it being overrun or whatever like that. It's much more robust now. There's much more stronger mechanism in place to facilitate legal migration. I think it's important that understanding is there. We need more economic growth in Europe. It doesn't have the same focus on innovation as you do here in the US. We discussed that earlier with the Vice President in terms of technology, in terms of AI. We need to pivot more to innovation as opposed to regulation. And I think investing in people, and that's the key to, I think, our collective future. But we do learn lessons of you're doing things and picking it up.
Prime Minister, Mr. President,
The Irish president has said that your war against Iran is illegal.
Want to live about Trump? He's a draft dodger.
Look, he's lucky I exist. That's all I can say.
He is afraid.
Because if you're going to allow countries that are sick and demented, and they are demented, to have nuclear weapons, everybody in the whole world should be very thankful. And I'm disappointed in NATO, very disappointed. I'm disappointed in a couple of other countries too. But they should be very thankful that this group of people feels the way we do. Because if a country like Iran was allowed to have the power of a nuclear weapon, if we didn't stop them, I stopped them twice. I stopped them my first term when I terminated the Iran nuclear deal, which was Barack Obama's deal. It was one of maybe the worst deal I've ever seen. It gave everything to Iran, including billions of dollars in green cash. I don't mean cash, I mean green cash flown over by airplanes. I can't to this day believe that was allowed to happen. And come to think of it, it would be a good thing for somebody to look at. Does the president have the power to hand hundreds of millions of dollars of cash to terrorists? But it began with that, and I terminated that deal. If I didn't terminate that deal, we might not be here right now. If I didn't terminate that deal, unbelievable nuclear holocaust would have taken place. And then I did it a second time when we hit them with the B-2 bombers, and we totally obliterated their potential nuclear weapon that they would have had in less than 1 month. They think 2 weeks, but in less than 1 month. And it would have been, I believe it would have been a much different world than it is right now. We have to go. We're going to a lunch, so maybe we'll take one more nice question.
Can I ask you how you're doing with your legal case against the BBC and their fake news documentary?
Well, the BBC was incredible. What they did is they had me speaking something I never said. And I've never seen anything quite like it. You know, CBS had that. We had the situation on 60 Minutes, and not the current owners, the past owners. The current owners, I think, are good, Ellison. But BBC took it a step further. They actually they put words in my mouth, and I said some pretty bad things. And I didn't say them. It was AI generated. And I said, I never said that. In fact, some of my people said, wow, that was pretty bad stuff you said. I said, what did I say? You know, I'm pretty good at this stuff. I mean, if you can go through years of these press conferences and you're a popular president of the United States that won in a landslide, that won all 7 swing states, that got record numbers of votes, I mean, so I guess I'm okay at this stuff. I said, I never said that. And then we found out it was AI generated. And they admit they made a mistake. BBC. But I watched them this morning for some crazy reason, and it was so inaccurate. Their reporting of the war was unbelievable. We have decimated that country. And if you watch BBC, it's almost like they're fighting us to a draw. They're not fighting us to a draw. It was very inaccurate news. It was fake news. So I'm very proud of the term fake news because it was my term. I came up with it, but it's no longer accurate. It really is. It's corrupt, fraudulent news. It really is. It's fraudulent. It's not just fake. It's beyond fake. It's really criminal what they do. But I watched BBC this morning, and I don't know much about BBC other than what took place, because people were calling me saying, that was a terrible thing you said. I said, what did I say? And I said, I never said that. And when we checked it, do you agree? They agree. It was somehow generated, I guess, by AI or something, with me saying unbelievable. So we brought a lawsuit against them. They admit they're guilty, but we'll see how it comes out. Thank you. I like that question. I like that question. Thank you very much. We'll see you later. Thank you.
I'm tapping in. Listen, man, let's keep this ball rolling, man. Y'all already know Trump petty as ever. We about to keep this ball rolling because we lit tonight. Let's go.
I can tell you, but there's a lot of truth. It's too long a story to tell, but these two guys are very special. I want to thank our great speaker. He's a great speaker, actually. He's a great speaker. Because when you think of everything that we've passed, with a sometimes majority of 1, when we get back to 2, 3, and 4, Mike, we think we have it really made. We lost a couple, and we had a couple of people. They're in heaven now. They're looking, and that didn't help us with the vote, but we're doing all right, and you're getting things done like really nobody. I think there's never been anything like it. So I just want to thank you. You're doing a fantastic job. And I want to thank that beautiful, you're not allowed to say that about women anymore, but I say it anyway. Usually it's the end of your career.
Your small business taxes handled. All your unique deductions found.
You're not allowed to use the word beauty in any form to introduce a woman, but she happens to be beautiful. Kelly, thank you very much. All Irish. I'm in deep trouble. I'm in deep trouble. There'll be headlines when I get out of this room, but I'll stick with it. But and then your family is so incredible too. So thank you very much. And to every friend of Ireland in this room today, I just want to wish you a very happy St. Patrick's Day, special day. It's a very great day. And to Taoiseach, you are a man that I've gotten to know, and you mean business. And he can tell a story like nobody can tell a story. And then he said, how did you speak for almost 2 hours? A couple of weeks ago at a call, I'd called State of the Union. I said, you could do it very easily. I guarantee you that. He could do it. But we've had a really great relationship. And Mary, thank you very much. terrific. Thank you very much to be with you both. I hope you enjoy your stay. Also with us is House Majority Leader Steve Scalise. Steve, great job. Deputy First Minister of Northern Ireland, and they get along so well. I saw that. You get along very well together.
That's crazy.
Huh? I
Charlie
don't know if I should be promoting merger. I love mergers,
crazy.
but I didn't know.
Wow.
We're going to get in a little trouble. We're going to get in
Shaq,
more
we start
trouble.
talking about Shaq,
More trouble
man.
with
You
that
start
than the
putting
beauty.
in the future.
But Emma Little Pengali, thank you very much, Emma. Thank you very much. And the ambassador from the Republic of Ireland, Geraldine Byrne Nason. Geraldine, thank you, Geraldine. Thank you very much. Ambassador from the United Kingdom, Christian Turner. Christian, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Christian. Thank you very much. And the U.S. Ambassador to Ireland, a great golfer. This guy can play golf. He can play golf. Walshy, right? Can't you, huh? But Trump's not bad. No. He's a great player, and he's having a lot of fun over there. What is that for a guy who loves golf? Is that the best location? Can you imagine? Ambassador to Ireland? That's got to be the greatest job in the world. Anyway, have a good time. Have a good time. You're doing a good job. As many of you know, this year we're celebrating something that is very special, the glorious 250th anniversary of America's founding. That's a big deal, and I'm very happy to be here. I wasn't supposed to be president right now. It was supposed to be maybe in Ireland, taking it easy, or someplace taking it easy. But I'm president now, and I got the Olympics, I have the World Cup, and I have the 250th year, and we all have it together. And I just do want to say that the war is proceeding very, very strongly. We're doing very, very well in Iran, knocking the hell out of them, and you have to do that. We can't let them have a nuclear weapon. They were 2 weeks away, in my opinion, 2 weeks away from having a nuclear weapon. If those beautiful, magnificent machines, those B-2 bombers, if they didn't do their job 7 or 8 months ago, they would have had a nuclear weapon, and there would have been no talking to them, no talking at all. They would have used it very gladly, very happily, and you sort of see that by the fact that they were sending missiles, ballistic missiles, powerful missiles, to all of their neighbors, and for the most part, they were supposed to be somewhat friendly with their neighbors. They were going to blow the hell out of them, and that was going to be the Middle East, between Israel, the Middle East, and Europe would have been there, and we would have been there. There would have been no stopping, and we did a good job, and a lot of people appreciated it. A lot of presidents know they should have done it. It was 47 years of terror. Every time you see somebody with no legs, no arms, a face that's been really so badly damaged, so badly hurt, lives destroyed, 95% chance it came right out of Iran. They loved that bomb. They loved that bomb. And the father of that was, as you know, Soleimani, General Soleimani. And we got rid of him in my first term, and if we didn't get rid of him, I think it might have been a different story, because he was a bad guy, but he was a brilliant guy if you like to fight dirty, and he fought as dirty as you can. So we've done something that a lot of people said that other people should have done long before I got here, but it's my honor to do it, and we've had a very big day today. We knocked out things that nobody thought were possible to knock out. Today was a very big day already. As part of this great celebration, we also honor 250 years of cherished Irish-American friendship and 250 years of fierce, proud, tenacious Irish-American heritage.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari, the Chief Executive Officer of Phoenix Energy. I look forward to you joining.
These are incredible people. Oh, I know so many Irish. They're difficult, though, you know, they're very difficult. And they're great politicians. You know, I was just told, right, that 23 American presidents have some Irish blood in them, right? Some a little bit, and some a lot, right? That's a pretty big number. I don't think and nobody else competes with that. But out of the 56 signers of our Declaration of Independence, 11 were patriots with roots in Ireland back in July 4th, 1776. It was the son of Ireland who actually printed that sacred document for the first time. Who knew that? And it was also an Irishman who first read its immortal words to the American public,
who knew that?
claiming aloud that we are all made free and equal by the hand of our Creator and endowed by God with rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That came out of the blood of Ireland. The Irish did not come to America. They helped found America, the fact is, and they helped build America. And these are incredible people. I know them well. And with a little bit of Irish luck, they helped make America into the most exceptional nation the world has ever seen. And we're doing better. We had to do a little excursion, if you don't mind. A little excursion to take care of nuclear weaponry in the hands of maniacs. But other than that, in a couple of weeks, and won't be much longer, it's moving along fast. We're way ahead of schedule. Did you know that, Mr. Speaker? I'm trying to save a lot of money by being ahead of schedule. We're way ahead of schedule. Nobody would have thought, a great war historian told me today, nobody would have thought you could do that much damage in that little time, 2 weeks. But we're way ahead. But we had prior to that, and really, I guess you could say after that, but prior to that, and it'll bounce back so fast, the oil prices will drop like a rock, and the economy is so powerful, so strong. And we hit 50,000 on the Dow. Think of that,
Damn.
50,000. I was told you'll never hit 50,000, not for the first 3 years. Maybe at the end of the fourth year, you might be able to hit it. We hit it in the first year. And we then hit 7,000 on the S&P, and that was even more of a long shot, Steve. That was a chance that they said you couldn't do that. That was harder than 50 on the Dow. 7,000 on the S&P. We hit that before the end of the first year. And all of those things. And then I said to myself, well, we're doing great. We're doing great. I went to Susie, my beautiful Susie Wiles. There's nobody like Susie. I went to Susie. Right? And everybody's with her, and she's a great woman, really. She's a great woman. But I went to Susie. I always go to Susie. I said, Susie, do you mind if I take a little excursion here? Do you mind if I, we're hitting all these records, right? More people are working in the United States today than ever before. I could name this. I don't want to bore you because this is all about Ireland. This is all about, but you're a big part of it because you're a big part of this country. But I said, do you mind if I take a little excursion, my chief of staff? Because I want to do this. I have Marco here. We have a lot of our great people. JD is here. They're all here. And I say, let's do this. We got to do it right. Should have been done by many presidents. Should have been done long before 47 years. It's 40 years of living in terror. They're called the bully of the Middle East, but they're really the bully of the world because he used oil to bribe, right? They used oil to bribe and to gain power. I don't know what they gained. What did they gain? What the hell? How are they doing? Not so good. They're all gone now. Every one of them, they're all gone. We don't even know who our biggest problem, we don't know who to deal with. Over here, I can call the Speaker of the House. He's so powerful. I can call him. I can make a deal. Maybe. I can even call your Democrat counterpart, this guy. I said to Kelly, what do you think of your counterpart? He said he's a great guy. This is Republican, Democrat. I never thought I was going to hear that about you. Let me shake your hand.
Wow.
When Kelly tells me that, I said, that's the way it used to be. That's the way, not so long ago. And maybe someday that's the way it'll be again. It's really great. But I said, do you mind if I take a little excursion? Because we have to do something. And it'll be a short-term excursion. But we have all these great things going. And we had to, we could have gone up. It was only going in one direction. But I think now it's going to go much higher than it would have gone had we not taken this little journey. And so I appreciate all of the people that have worked with us. That was not an easy decision to make. We have a country that was hotter than any country anywhere in the world and doing great in every way. And I say, oh. We have to put out this cancer. It's a cancer. We had to take that operation. And we did, and it was very successful. And it continues. Frankly, as somebody said, they could leave today, and it would take 10 years to rebuild the damage that's been done. But I think we have to make it a little bit more permanent because no other president has to go through this, and we shouldn't have any other president having to go through this kind of a thing. And if they didn't want to do it, if for some reason they didn't want to do it, we'd have the same problem. We don't ever want to have that problem again, not with lunatics. We can't have lunatics controlling nuclear weaponry. So I just want to thank everybody.
Exactly. No lunatics.
Let's get back to Ireland. Do you mind? Ireland, we don't mind. Ireland is a nice place. I love Ireland. In fact, we're going to have the Irish Open at a property that happens to be owned by yours truly, but I have nothing to do with it.
Learning.
I own it, but I don't even like to talk to my son. He says, Dad, we're doing great with the I'm allowed to run it, but I don't choose to. Dad, we're doing great. Eric calls up. He's doing a good job. Do you like Eric? I think so, right? Who doesn't like Eric? But he calls up, Dad, we're doing a great job in Ireland. What's going on? Well, we're doing this and that. I said, don't tell me about it. I don't want to know about it. I don't want to know about it. Of course, if we were treated badly, I'd let him know very quickly. But I think you are very proud of what's been done over there by the Trump organization, right? It's one of the greatest places, one of the greatest golf courses in the world, and it's an honor to hold the Irish Open there. It's coming up very shortly, and it's a great honor. Thank you, and say hello to Rory McIlroy and all of those great players because they are truly great talents, and they're wonderful people, friends of mine. But over the centuries, 130 members of the House and Senate have been born in Ireland and been elected to work in these great halls. Think of it, it's a lot. Our national anthem itself was signed by the sight of the Star-Spangled Banner waving over the fort named for the son of Ireland, Fort McHenry. When Americans ventured west on the Oregon Trail, they were guarded by troops stationed at Fort Riley, named for the Irish-American warrior who President Grant called the finest specimen of physical manhood I've ever looked upon. We didn't know that about President Grant. I think we just learned something. But I could say that about your sons, okay? Kelly, I could say that about your sons. One's a boxing champion. They're like champions. Who would think from this one? It's got to be from them. Well, I didn't know about your Italian roots either. I thought he was a super wasp. You know, to me, Mike was always a wasp. Now I learned that this is serious Italian stuff, right? Well, that'll be good for you, I think. You know, his image has changed a hell of a lot very quick. He's great. Even today, when Americans visit Gettysburg, they find a Celtic cross honoring the soldiers of the famed Irish Brigade and defended our Union in its pivotal hour, most pivotal hour. They were there. And it said that more than 50% of all congressional medals of honor are awarded. Think of that. 50% went to people who had parents, one or the other, Irish American. That's a lot. We're going to have to look. That's because we have so many Irish politicians. That's how that works. But we can't let that. We got to make some changes in that. That's too many. Don't you think, Kelly? I think. But from 1776 to today, our country has stood strong and free in no small part due to the spirit of the warriors. You really are warriors. You're incredible. And the Fighting Irish, you know, Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish is a reason for it. I don't know how many Irish people are playing on the team, though. How many Irish people do we have on the team? I'm not sure we have so many. Well, you got him. You have Kelly. Kelly's a warrior, let me tell you. As the Taoiseach has said, and the President reminds us today, the United States and Ireland continue to build upon the age-old bond together. We are strengthening the ties of culture. We have a tremendous deficit, by the way, I want to tell you right now. I looked at the numbers. You guys are much better business people than our past politicians. We have to talk about that deficit. Are we allowed to talk about that today? It's a substantial deficit. Okay, tomorrow. Okay, Walt said tomorrow. And cooperation that really does stretch back many, many generations. Under our leadership. As we speak, Irish companies are investing
About what?
more than $6 billion into the United States, including $45 million in Pennsylvania, $70 million in Colorado, and over $100 million in New Mexico and Ohio. And I'm hopeful that we'll soon reach a deal to let American liquefied natural gas, and that'll bring down your deficits a lot. So I think you have to make this deal with us. We, got to do something. But these companies are going to be fueling your homes and factories and all of the other things. We have a lot of energy in this country. We have more than anybody. We have the most energy of any country in the world by far. So we want to sell a little of that to you, and the deficit will come down, 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 and everybody's going to be happy. So you got to buy a lot of our stuff. But in this small and beautiful, it's a beautiful room. I love this room. It's been a very warm room. I've had a good time. I have so many friends and so many relationships that I've gotten from this room, mostly from this event. But on this St. Patrick's Day, as we press ahead toward the opportunities that await, let us remember the beautiful words of St. Patrick himself. May the power of God preserve us. May the wisdom of God instruct us. May the hand of God protect us. May the way of God direct us. May the shield of God defend us. And may the host of God guard us. That's beautiful. Thank you. And today we add, may God bless the people of Ireland, and may God bless the United States of America. And it's great to be with you. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm tapping in. And man, listen, y'all know Trump don't play fair. Y'all already know that. Y'all know Trump is strictly about the money. Y'all already know that. Y'all already know that Trump is a finesser. That's what Trump do. Trump don't care about nobody's attitude. He don't care about what people think about him. He don't care about none of that. Trump gonna do what Trump want to do, and y'all know that, man. So stop faking like y'all know that Trump don't care about nothing. He don't care how you approach him, what you talk about to him. He don't care about nothing, because everything gonna go his way. And y'all know that. That ain't no secret. Y'all act like that's a secret that Trump talk crazy like that. Man, that man worse than that. Like I told y'all, he's getting old, so he getting real stubborn. Like literally, his family don't even like him. So what y'all think about that? If his family don't like him, what y'all think about that? Man, y'all gotta realize, man, what's going on. Stop sitting around looking crazy like shit can't happen over here. They could send bombs over here. You better believe that. They can send some bombs over here, but is you ready when they send the bombs over here? This is what I'm talking about, real life shit. I don't care what nobody say. Y'all better listen to what's going on in life. Don't let life go past y'all. I'm telling you, you're going to let life go past y'all, and y'all going to be like, oh my God, they just sent a whole bomb over here. Yeah, they been saying they was going to send bombs over here. Y'all just wasn't paying attention. That's the only thing that was. Y'all wasn't paying attention, but guess what? This thing gets serious than what it is. Y'all better stop playing these games. Y'all better stop playing these games, because they get real serious. While y'all playing games like that, y'all gonna let y'all whole life go past y'all. But thank y'all for tapping into Yo Cuz Podcast. Let's get busy.
If you don't mind, I'll just hop over here. Look at the metrics for not just violent crimes, but the homeless. Mr. President, during your administration,
you already know, cuz.
Located
For real.
5,400 children. That is a 30% increase year to date over the last administration. Violent crimes against children arrests alone are up 10%. Gang arrests are up 210% in the last 7 months alone. And transnational organized crime, which Stephen Miller has been a great partner in, is up over 12% alone. These numbers are historic just as a snapshot. But just so people don't think we're focusing on violent crime alone, the national security mission, Mr. President, under your leadership has never been stronger. We have gone after espionage activities against our main counterparts in China, Russia, and Iran. In China alone, we've had over a 50% increase in espionage arrests alone in prosecution. In Iran, we have had a 50% increase, again, in espionage cases. And in Russia, we've had a 33% increase in espionage cases alone. When it comes to counterterrorism, year to date, we have 125 arrests this year versus 100 last year, year to date alone. And when it comes to the cyber criminal activities, which are some of the largest enterprises plaguing everyday Americans, we at the FBI have put out a mission to go after cyber criminals like never before. Last year, they had in total 191. This year, you already have 252 arrests. 52 arrests of violent cyber criminals who are stealing from senior citizens, who are violating our children's rights and freedoms, and who are violating everyday Americans. These programs are record. And two of the things I'll finish with that I'm most proud of, Mr. President, this FBI, fentanyl. As you know, it's a scourge that's killing our youth, 100,000 plus a year. To date, the FBI has seized 1,900 kilograms of fentanyl. That's enough lethal doses to kill 127 million Americans alone, to date. And if that weren't enough, Mr. President, you said we have to go after the worst of the worst. And you empowered our Department of Justice, our Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General, and the Deputy Director at the FBI, led the charge, not just on summer heat, but he also led the charge to the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives. These people have been on the run for years. And in 7 months, you captured not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 of the FBI's most top 10 fugitives. 4. And just to put that in perspective, Mr. President, the Biden administration captured 4 in all of 4 years. You're on 7, and we're going to get to 10. We're going to get to 10 of 10. This includes a lady who murdered her 6-year-old handicapped child and fled to India. We got her in 2 months. This includes a narco trafficker. This includes a sex trafficker. This includes another first-degree murderer and gangbang. These people were on the run because of the prior administration's reckless policies that destroyed our communities. And you came in and with a mandate said, go after the worst of the worst. This is just the beginning. This is what happens when you let good cops be good cops at the FBI. Mr. President, I just want to thank you for your incredible leadership, our great partnership with prosecutors who know how to bring cases and make sure these arrests stick. And that's what the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General have led the charge across this country. Because arrests without prosecutions are meaningless. We are deterring criminals from doing this activity. We are preventing criminals from coming into America, and we are absolutely crushing violent crime like never before and defending this homeland, sir. And not to mention, I almost forgot this one. It took you, sir, 2 weeks to get the Abbey Gate bomber. Joe Biden had 4 years to look for him. You got him in 2 weeks, thanks to the interagency effort by the FBI and the CIA, went to Pakistan, and now 13 brave warriors who were sentenced to murder because of disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal. They have justice, their families have a peace of mind, and we're going to continue to find the others, Mr. President. On behalf of the FBI, sir, I just want to thank you.
Thank you very much, Pierce. Great job. Very good. Very impressive. Pam, would you like to say something, please?
President Trump, the men and women of law enforcement say 2 things to me repeatedly. First, you have taken the handcuffs off them and let them do their jobs, and you let cops be cops. That's why all this is happening. The director, the deputy director are working around the clock. All of these great men and women in the FBI, they have families at home, and they are working during a government shutdown right now. Many of them have small children. Many of them, I was talking to an agent this morning, many of them have babies at home, and they are working around the clock to not only keep our country, but our world safe. And that's what Operation Summer Heat did. Thank you, Director, and to the Deputy Director for everything you did on behalf of the Department of Justice, and you're going to continue to keep doing. And they set the stage for what we're doing in Memphis. You're going to hear a lot more about that, our joint task force next week, but they set the stage for Memphis. And last night alone in Memphis, there were almost 70 arrests. There were 12 guns seized. And there was a 70-year-old man arrested as a result of our operation in Memphis who raped a child under the age of 3. That one case makes everything we're doing worthwhile. So thank you all for being here on behalf of both of us. Thank you, President Trump.
Judge, you want to say something?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. President. So this is a great day, and I think there's stats that the director talked about which are important, but I want to give 2 examples of what Summer Heat has done that actually will apply hopefully to everybody in this room. The first is for over 4 years during the last administration, there was a hotel in a town, the middle of a town in Alaska, that was being run as a drug den. There were over 1,000 calls to 911 over 4.5 year period. There were multiple violent crimes, drug dealers, overdoses, and murders at this one hotel, ruining a community. Summer Heat went in there. It's not only arrested all the participants that were controlling the hotel, but seized the hotel. And so that's one example of what summer heat means to everyday Americans that just want to live in peace. The second example is a large narcotics trafficking group that was selling fentanyl in the state of Washington. They were shipping fentanyl and using commercial aircraft, putting fentanyl pills and powder onto in suitcases, flying them from the southwest border, mostly Arizona.
That's crazy.
All the way to Washington. It had been going on for an extremely long time, and the entire organization was arrested. And I say those two examples because it's easy to look at the board and see 1,000 arrests. How much different is our communities now compared to the past 4 years? But there's actual life examples. Every one of these arrests means that our streets are safer, and that's because of the work of this administration, of President Trump and Director Patel. So I will tell you, Attorney General Bondi and I are together every day with Director Patel, figuring out ways that we can continue to do this work, and it's not going to stop. Like the Attorney General said, and like the President said, this is just the beginning, or phase one, or a start, whatever you want to say, but it will continue on. So thank you, Mr. President, and thank you very much, Director Patel.
Mr. President, just one last thank you from the men and women at the FBI. You found a way to get these individuals paid during a government shutdown, our 1811 agents. So on behalf of the FBI, it's a great debt that we owe you, sir. They're now allowed to pay for their families, so thank you.
And the military. Good.
That's right.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much.
Introducing OBS Bottail 2, a powerful...
Any questions, please? Brian, go ahead.
Mr. President, first of all, I know the feedback I'm getting from the American people, they want to say thank you. Law and order is not an option in this country.
Guns. So every gun that we're taking off the street is because it belongs to somebody who is not allowed to have it. Could be a felon, could be somebody who hears illegally. There's all sorts of conditions. But if there's a gun taken off the streets by the FBI, it's because the person who has it is not allowed to. It's not somebody who's lawfully allowed to have it. So every single one of those guns were taken off of people that aren't allowed to have them.
And not including the FBI, all of the other agencies. ATF alone, since January 20th, has removed over 25,000 illegal guns off our streets, just since President Trump's been in office.
And Mr. President, if I could follow up on that, could there be any further conversation to have national concealed carry applied to actual DC? Like if you had a driver's license in Texas and you had a permit, of course you could drive.
Well, as you know, they've been talking about that for a long time. It's an interesting question. A lot of people feel strongly both ways, but we are talking about that, Brian. Thank you.
Mr. President, on Venezuelan boats, I want to ask you, why not have the Coast Guard stop them, which it is empowered by law to do? You know, this way you can confirm who's on the boat and ensure that they're doing what you suspect.
Because we've been doing that for 30 years, and it has been totally ineffective. They have faster boats. Some of these boats are seriously, I mean, they're world-class speedboats, but they're not faster than missiles. But we've been trying to do that for years, and so much of the drugs, 25-30%, would come in through the seas. Right now we have, I would say, none coming in through the seas. In fact, I don't know about the fishing industry. If you want to go fishing, a lot of people aren't deciding to even go fishing. We've almost totally stopped it by sea. Now we'll stop it by land.
What's the next step?
But it never worked. It never worked when you did it in a very politically correct manner.
What's the next step in this war on cartels, and are you considering options, are you considering strikes on land?
Well, I don't want to tell you exactly, but we are certainly looking at land now because we've got the sea very well under control. We've had a couple of days where there isn't a boat to be found. And that, I view that as a good thing, not a bad thing. But we had tremendous amounts coming in by boats, by very expensive boats. You know, they have a lot of money, very fast, very expensive boats that were pretty big. And the way you look at it is every boat that we knock out, we save 25,000 American lives. So every time you see a boat and you feel badly, you say, wow, that's rough. It is rough, but if you lose 3 people and save 25,000 people, these are people that are killing our population. Every boat is saving 25,000 lives, and you can see it. The boats get hit, and you see that fentanyl all over the ocean. It's like floating in bags. It's all over the place, and it's a tremendous. We're saving tremendous amounts of lives. Yeah,
Mr. President, on that issue.
I know you've talked about, I have a question for you, and then I also have a question for Director Patel. I know you talked about having some distaste for Boston recently. Is this one of the cities that you might be looking into, and can you give us a hint about other cities that you might be?
You're saying for where? For where?
For Boston.
Yeah, well, Boston has a bad mayor who at least is a reasonable IQ person. You know, most of them are low IQ, but and they're so bad. I mean, what's going on in Chicago is just, you'd think the guy would say, hey, look, we have a problem, Mr. President. Could you come in and straighten it out? We could have that done in a month if we had their cooperation. It's going to be done anyway, but we could have it done in a month.
Done anyway.
Yeah, Boston, she's got 4 areas that are, wrong. And, somebody said, would we think about taking the World Cup away from Boston if they don't straighten it out? And the answer is yes. We have the right to do that with FIFA. So if we think that LA is going to be bad, or we think that applies a little bit to the Olympics too, but we'll talk about FIFA first. FIFA is very hot. If we think there's any reason that, whether it's Boston or anywhere else, that they're not doing their job, we're going to take those World Cup games and move them someplace else.
Thank you. And then Director Patel, there's been so many conspiracy theories swirling around about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Do you have any updates for us, especially in light of all the online content that everyone's been talking about?
The only thing we deal with at the FBI and the Department of Justice is facts. And we delivered in record speed a manhunt to capture Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin in 33 hours. And if you put that in perspective to Luigi Mangione or the Boston bomber, they took them 5 days and a police officer lost their life in their manhunt. We are running out absolutely every single lead. And the best thing we can do to honor my friend Charlie Kirk's life is to make sure that everyone involved is prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And that's what we're focused on, investigating the facts, not trading in conspiracy theories.
Okay.
Mr. President, thank you so much.
Thank you.
In light of China's export curbs on rare earths, do you view India as a reliable partner going forward? And are you planning to meet Prime Minister Modi in Malaysia? Are you open to talks in terms of
Yeah,
trade?
sure. He's a friend of mine. We have a great relationship. He just said that 2 days ago, as you know. We have a great relationship. No, we were not happy with him buying oil from Russia, because that lets Russia continue on with this ridiculous war where they've lost 1.5 million people. By the way, Russia's lost 1.5 million people, soldiers mostly. This is a war that should have never started, but it's a war that Russia should have won in the first week, and they're going into the 4th year. And I want to see it stop. So I was not happy that India was buying oil. And he assured me today that they will not be buying oil from Russia. That's a big stop. Now I got to get China to do the same thing. That is relatively easy compared to what we just did over the last week in the Middle East. Middle East was 3,000 years, and we got it done. This is 3 years, and I think we'll get it done. I think that President Putin, I think he wants to get it done. We'll see. There's a great animosity between him and Zelensky. You probably have noticed, right? And it's, I think it's hurting the process. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, thank you. Curious, why did you authorize the CIA to go into Venezuela? And is there more information you can share about these strikes on the alleged?
Well, I can't do that, but I authorized for 2 reasons, really. Number one, they have emptied their prisons into the United States of America. They came in through the border. They came in because we had an open border policy. And as soon as I heard that, I said, a lot of these countries, they're not the only country, but they're the worst abuser. And they've they've allowed thousands and thousands of prisoners, people from mental institutions, insane asylums, emptied out into the United States. We're bringing them back, but that's a really bad, and they did it at a level that probably not, many countries have done it, but not like Venezuela. They were down and dirty. And the other thing are drugs. We have a lot of drugs coming in from Venezuela, and a lot of the Venezuelan drugs come in through the sea, so you get to see that. But we're going to stop them by land also.
What if instead of designing thumbnails, you could just paste your YouTube link into our AI and it would create scroll stop?
Does the CIA have authority to take out Maduro?
Oh, I don't want to answer a question like that. That's a ridiculous question for me to be given. Not really a ridiculous question, but wouldn't it be a ridiculous question for me to answer? But I think Venezuela is feeling heat, but I think a lot of other countries are feeling heat too. We're not going to let this country, our country, be ruined because other people want to drop, as you say, their worst. They have given us their worst. They've loaded up our country with prisoners, with mentally ill people that are seriously ill, criminally ill, and we're not going to take it. And so, I mean, it's just one of those things. And I can tell you, we've taken care of the sea. There's nobody, and we're watching. We're watching.
I'm tapping in. I'm tapping in. I'm tapping in. Man, listen, man. Thank y'all for tapping in to Yo Cuz Podcast. Y'all know what it is. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and drop a comment on this episode. We are definitely lit tonight, but thank y'all for tapping in. And I'll see y'all in the morning. Go.